When a soul enters into another level of creation and its consciousness, it separated itself temporarily from the consciousness of its own soul, and became even further removed from the consciousness of its spirit. Thus, instead of helping to direct the flow of creation and contributing to it, the soul found itself in the stream and drifting along with it. The farther the soul traveled from the shore, the more it succumbed to the pull of the current and the more difficult was the task of getting back to land. Planets and solar systems became impatient to souls. Each solar system had its own course and its own plan. Souls moved toward them through the activity of a constant stream of mind. When a soul leaped into the stream, by immersing itself in the system through which the stream was flowing, it had the force of the current to contend with, and its free will was hampered. It was very easy, under these circumstances, to drift with the current. Each solar system also represents an opportunity for development, advancement, and growth toward the ideal of complete companionship with God, the position of co-creator in the vast system of universal mind. Our solar system also attracted souls. Since each solar system is a single expression of the divine, with its planets as integral parts, the Earth came into the path of souls. Each solar system in the universe is like an atom in a universe of worlds. Atoms have quantum levels for electrons to travel around. The Sun has quantum levels for planets to travel around. The planets of our solar system are physical representations of heavenly dimensions. These levels as a whole are the consciousness of our solar system. There are 9 planetary/heavenly dimensions to the consciousness of our solar system. The planet Earth represents the 3rd dimension. Earth represents 3-dimensional life in our solar system. The Earth is an expression of divine mind with its own laws, its own plan, and its own evolution. Souls, longing to feel the beauty of the seas, the winds, the forest, and the flowers, mixed with them and expressed themselves through them. They also mingled with the animals, and made thought forms in imitation of them. Souls played at creating and imitated God, but this interfered with the evolutionary plan of the Earth. Thus, the stream of mind that was carrying out this plan for the Earth gradually drew souls into its current. Souls had to evolve into the bodies they had themselves created. This entanglement of souls into physical form was a probability from the beginning. But God did not know when it would happen until the souls, of their own free will, had caused it to happen. All souls that exist were created by God in the very beginning. None has been made since. This means all souls on this planet pre-existed before birth. Of the souls which God created, only a comparative few have entered into the experience of our solar system. Many other souls have gone through or are going through a similar entanglement in other solar systems in the universe. A way to liberate the souls that were entangled in matter was created. A physical form became available as a vehicle for the soul on Earth. A way became available for souls to enter the Earth and experience it as part of their evolutionary/reincarnation cycle. Of the physical forms already existing on Earth, a species of anthropoid ape most nearly approached the necessary pattern. Souls descended on these apes, hovering above and about them rather than inhabiting them, and influenced them to move toward a different goal from the simple one they had been pursuing. They came down out of the trees, built fires, made tools, lived in communities, and began to communicate with each other. Eventually they lost their animal look, shed bodily hair, and took on refinements of manner and habit. The evolution of the human body occurred partly through the soul's influence on the endocrine glands until the ape-man was a 3-dimensional objectification of the soul that hovered above it. Then the soul fully descended into the body and Earth had a new inhabitant, the Homo sapien. Homo sapiens appeared in 5 different places on Earth at the same time, as the 5 races. This evolved human is what the Bible refers to as Adam. When souls incarnated into physical form, it would bring the divine consciousness, i.e., the spirit, in with it. Cayce referred to this divine consciousness as the Christ consciousness, or Godhood, or the superconsciousness. Christ consciousness has little to do with the personality known as Jesus. It means that a person has attained a complete human-divine unity. This human-divine unity has been attained by many people thus far. One such person was Jesus. The problem for the soul entangled in flesh was to overcome the attractions of the Earth to the extent that the soul would be as free in the body as out of it. Only when the body was no longer a hindrance to the free express of the soul would the cycle of Earth be finished. This is the condition of having a perfect unity of the human with the divine. In a smaller field, this was the evolutionary drama of free will and creation. In a still smaller field, each atom of the physical body is a world in itself where a drama of free will and creation is occurring. The soul brings life into each atom, and each atom is a physical reflection of the soul's pattern. With the advent of consciousness, humans became aware that sex meant something more to them than to the animals. Sex is the door, which new souls enter the earth, a door unnecessary in other heavenly planetary/realms. Sex is the only means which trapped souls have of being liberated from their predicament, through the cycle of birth, death and rebirth. The plan for the earth cycle of souls was a limited series of incarnations with periods in between of dwelling in other heavenly dimensions of consciousness. Reincarnation would continue until a soul's every thought and action of the physical body was in accord with the plan originally laid out for the soul, i.e., a human divine unity, Christ consciousness. When the body was no longer a hindrance to the free expression of the soul, when the conscious mind had merged with the subconscious, the earth cycle was finished and the soul liberated to move on to new adventures. This conquest of the physical body could not be attained until there was perfection in the other dimensions of consciousness that is a physical representation of our solar system. Astrologically, the goal for the soul is to attain a level of consciousness that represents the total expression of the sun and its planets. Whichever level of consciousness that the soul assumes, it becomes the focal point of activity. The other states of consciousness receded to the position of urges and influences. The human race was fostered by a soul who had completed his experience of creation, attained Christhood, returned to God, and became a companion to God and a co-creator. This is the soul known as Jesus. The first evolutionary transformation of ape man to Homo sapiens is who the Bible refers to as Adam. This was the beginning of the divine consciousness into flesh on the earth. The soul known as Jesus was one of the first souls to enter into one of the Adamic races. The soul of Jesus was interested in the plight of its fellow souls trapped in earth. After supervising the influx of souls into flesh, the Christ soul took form itself, from time to time, to act as a leader for the people. At first, these souls just slightly inhabited the bodies of ape men while remembering their true identities as spirit beings. But gradually, after many incarnations, these souls descended even further into physical consciousness and the result was a decrease in their spiritual mentality. They remembered their true selves only in dreams and in fables that were handed down from one generation to another. Religion came into being as a ritual of longing for lost spirit memories. The arts were born which included music and geometry. This knowledge was brought into the world from incoming souls who gradually forgot their heavenly source. This knowledge had to be written down, learned, and taught to each new generation. Finally, humans were left with a conscious mind that was separated from their own individuality as souls. This individual identity as a soul became the subconscious mind. The individual identity or awareness of the physical world became the conscious mind. The subconscious mind, i.e., the soul, influenced the conscious mind and gave it its stature and quality. The subconscious mind dwelt in the suit of clothes, that is the physical body, and only in sleep is it disrobed. Conscious minds, left to its own influence, will work out the plans and desires of God. Humans eventually developed theories for what they felt was true, but no longer knew to be true. The result was the creation of philosophy and theology. Humans searched and discovered higher knowledge which they carried within themselves but could no longer reach with the conscious mind. This resulted in the creation of science. Humans evolved from having an awareness of higher spirit knowledge to having only mystical dreams, revealed religions, philosophy and theology. This evolution of consciousness ultimately reached a plateau and humans generally only believed what they could see and feel and prove in terms of their conscious minds. Then humanity began the struggle of regaining this higher knowledge. Meanwhile, the Christ soul continued to teach and lead humanity by incarnating as the biblical characters named Adam, Enoch, and Melchizedek. Enoch and Melchizedek experienced neither birth nor death. Then Christ's soul realized after these incarnations that it was necessary to give humanity a pattern by which they could follow in order to return to God. The Christ soul achieved this goal by incarnating as the personality known as Jesus, who became victorious over the death of the physical body by laying aside the ego, accepting the crucifixion of the body in order to return to God. Jesus created a pattern for humans to follow. Through the acts of leading a perfect life and becoming unjustly killed, this reversed the negative karma, i.e., the law of God, an eye for an eye, which came from Jesus' first incarnation as Adam. At present, humanity is in a state of great spiritual darkness, the darkness which precedes dawn. Humanity developed a level of skepticism that reached a point where it forced humans to make conclusions that they knew was intuitively wrong. At the same time, humanity continued their investigation of natural phenomena to the point where conscious awareness disproved all the higher knowledge that souls had in the beginning. The free will of humanity is discovering that all roads to higher knowledge is leading toward the same destination and conclusions. Scientific, theological, and philosophical knowledge, which has no desire to join forces, are approaching a point of merger. Skepticism faces destruction by its own hand.